Welcome to Zach and Steve Have a Podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Zach.
I can't believe we did that in
That was
tandem.
pretty good.
That wasn't planned. We just did it, Zachy.
That means something.
That does mean something. It means even after a month of not recording,
yes.
we still have it. Whatever it is, we have it.
Like Kenny has it.
Like Kenny has it. Kenny Pick it.
Yes.
Because he is it.
Yes.
MV Pickett.
Yes, that's true.
If he doesn't win a Super Bowl this year, it's going to be a massive
If he doesn't
letdown.
win a Super Bowl every season, it's going to be a disappointment.
Like, I think, honestly, hot take.
Yeah.
He's better than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, my, yeah.
That's
That's 100% true. I've got my Kenny Pickett jersey
I know, you
on
got your
today.
Kenny jersey on,
Yeah.
like, which I'm sure after this preseason, those jerseys are sold out.
Yeah. If you're not a Steelers fan, it's pandemonium
I know.
in the city of Pittsburgh.
He's thrown 0 picks.
Yeah.
He's only had like 3 incomplete passes all preseason.
He has a perfect rating.
He
Perfect
does.
passer rating all preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been on the Kenny Pickett train from the very beginning. If you've listened to this podcast, we didn't really.
I soured on his personal life a little bit,
No.
but his professional life, I like him.
Nobody cares at all about us talking about football.
In fact, we are told that
Don't
it's
talk about
several
football.
people's least favorite part of any podcast.
But guess what? We can't help it.
Yeah.
It's like
we watched the game last
Yinzer-
night,
It's
and
like
it
a
was
Yinzer
amazing.
dream.
It is. Is this like your thing, Yinzer
Yeah.
dream?
Yeah, this is
Yes,
like
I texted our mutual friend.
yeah, it's a Yinzer.
This is a
fever dream.
Yinzer dream.
Yeah.
It is a Yinzer dream, man.
Yeah.
The Steelers look amazing.
We're excited.
I can't wait for week. When is week 1?
September 10th.
Yeah, I thought so. But that was the last preseason game.
That's
correct?
it. Yep.
Just 3 now.
Now we just get to wait.
I thought
7.
they used to do 4, right?
Yeah, they changed it a couple years ago.
And now they cut it down to 3.
Yep.
And
I've got
eventually,
tears in my eyes.
I know, but I think it's from the gas in this room.
Okay. What? Is there a gas leak in here, Steve?
Yeah, that's why I took 10 days off. I've been out of the office for 10 days. I'm trying to clear my brain.
Nice.
No.
Anyway, let's get
literally, this is my first day back in the office. I took another nice vacation. I haven't taken much vacation this year.
believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
I mean, judging by the amount of podcasts that have not been done,
yeah.
you would think we've just been on vacation for a really long time.
No,
But that's not been the case.
No, it's been busyness here at work. Yes, believe it or not. Yeah, none of that time has been vacation time. There's been several things going on this summer. This has been our most inconsistent upload schedule, which I can only imagine is helping our viewership or listenership. So what we're going to ask, if you could for us.
Yeah.
We've never asked this before.
Oh, this is something new.
This is something new. We've never asked this before, but if you could, after you listen or while you're listening, make sure you follow the podcast on whatever streaming service you're using. Make sure you click to follow. And then also, if you could, share it on some social media.
There you go.
And that would be a huge help to us continue to be able to, rationalize
Why we do
to
this?
do this podcast. So, because if there's nobody listening to it,
Yeah.
it's just 2 guys with microphones in their face talking to each other across from a table from each other.
Yeah.
But if you could do that for us, we really appreciate it. And also, we want to dedicate this episode to a listener
Oh,
who said that her deadlifts are not the same
yes.
without the podcast.
Yeah, she listens while she's in the gym.
So, Abby, this is for you.
Yep. Abby Lou.
Abby Lou, podcast is for you. Thank you for being a faithful listener and telling us to get back in the studio.
Yes, we're back.
We're back. We're back in the studio for the first time. Our studio is an office that has a fan in the door, has an air conditioner.
We're doing good, Stevie.
We're doing good, man.
So tell me something.
Yeah, Zach.
Tell me a story.
Oh, buddy.
I need a story. You've been off for a
So
long
many
time.
stories. So many stories.
You've been chasing waterfalls.
I did. I chased waterfalls. We did the good old TLC.
Yeah.
Oh, they say don't go chasing waterfalls.
But you didn't listen to that advice.
we didn't stick to the rivers and the lakes like we used to. All right, we went right for those waterfalls. Yeah. So Sarah and I took the kids. So I've been off on vacation. Finally, I feel like I've been waiting for an actual vacation for a while. It's not just like, still kind of doing work in a lot of ways. So last week, Sarah and I took the kids up to the Finger Lakes. You familiar with the Finger Lakes?
Is that kind of where the gloves go in Alaska? The fingers go here?
Yes.
Is that kind of it? Just a lake full of fingers.
That was a stretch.
Yeah,
that was a stretch take.
That's where all the fingers go.
So all the fingers. No, so the Finger Lakes. I mean, we've heard about it. We've never been there. It was recommended to us by many people. They're like, "Yo, it's beautiful up there." Listen, Zach knows this just as well as anybody. I am not an outdoorsman.
You have not been an outdoorsman.
I have not been a traditional outdoorsman.
No, I mean, there's the famous story of us having a sleepover. Like a tent adventure for one youth event. That was when we used to live back in our old house. We had a big backyard. Yeah. We got the tent out there, and Steve was not happy about sleeping in this tent, and it's become a kind of a thing.
I would not say that I am a camper.
Okay.
By any stretch of the imagination. I am I would still feel more comfortable in something that had air conditioning of some sort. So even if it was like an RV.
You guys are talking about RVs now.
We are like really discussing the potential purchase of a recreational vehicle for our family. So we could do. I've become a full on just appreciator of all things outdoors.
Nice.
After I mean this summer, this summer's been a weird one for me. I've been going through many a transition in my life, and one of those things is like trying to find appreciation for the things that God has done and God has created. And getting outside has been a big part of that. I've never been much of an outdoorsy kind of person. But man, like after like really spending a week of just going out and hiking and just exploring and appreciating everything that God has created around us, setting the world into motion. You know what I mean? It's really given me a huge, like, I was struggling to sit down once I got home. I'm like, okay, I want to go on another hike. I want to get back out in the woods. I want to go explore again. Like nothing has made me feel more complete, or made me feel like, I don't know how else to put it other than saying like just to find some level of enjoyment in something that's not like the things that I've always been comfortable with.
Yeah.
One of the things I've always struggled with is buying things, material things to make myself feel good, and that always leads to nothing. Getting outside and finding this is like as a hobby and something to do. It's just been fantastic for me because it's been. I feel like, and maybe it sounds strange, but you've even alluded to this in conversations we had. It does lead to a connection with God more so because it's like we're just looking at the beauty of His creation, all around us, and then I'm getting to enjoy that with my kids, and we're just so excited about stuff. So anyway, we went to a couple of, I think they're state parks. I don't know the difference between a national park and a state park other than how they're funded.
I think that's it.
Is that
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think it's like one's funded by the state, one's funded by the federal government.
Yes.
But I mean, like, what? I don't know what I went to. Like, if they were state parks or if they were national parks. I think they're all state parks. But we went to what was it called? Lorch. We went to the Lorch.
That sounds like something out of
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, Dr. Seuss meets
the Lorch took us to a waterfall.
Meets the Lord of the Rings or something.
No, what was it called? Not Larch. Was it Larchmont? No,
I don't know. I wasn't there, Steve.
Oh my goodness! Now Sarah's gonna be. She's gonna be shaking.
She's yelling at her.
She's not yelling at it. I don't know if Sarah's ever raised her voice. But she's probably like, this guy. Anyway, so we went to one. Park that has three waterfalls it's upstate. Everything was in upstate New York. Upstate New York refers to anything that's not New York City. Yes. So we were close to Watkins Glen and Ithaca. Okay.
I've heard Ithaca is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous, man. It is gorgeous. Okay. So we went to the first state park, visited those waterfalls. I mean, it was just a gorgeous park. The kids. It was. I don't know if I've ever climbed so many steps in my life, but it was all worth it. It was all worth it.
Usually the steps you climb are in a building.
Yeah, typically. Yeah. These were outdoor steps. I mean, these were like stone. They were like they were made.
They were actual steps, but they were They were outdoor steps.
The thing that got me was the so they had old railing, like made of stone, but it came up to your knees.
Oh.
So it's really more of like a tripping hazard. Like it wasn't going to stop you from falling over. And
it was like leprechaun railing or something.
Well, it's like I was like, this must have been built when the average height in the United States was 5'6". Like that's like a tall man was 5'8". Yeah. All right, for us guys that are 6 foot and above, we're gonna die if we run into one of these things. So we're just gonna go careening to our death. Yeah. Sarah's not a fan of heights, either, especially with the kids present. So, like, it did make things a little bit more challenging because of like just the kids being kids, right? And they're like, "Oh, look over the edge!" We're like, "No!"
Oh yeah, I know all about that.
Yeah, and it's like because I mean, I'm sure up in Alaska it's the same thing.
It is,
and there's just polar bears at the bottom of those hills with their mouths open, waiting
with all the people's gloves.
They can't. They can't wait.
Up there, they have everybody's fingers.
They just have everybody's fingers. So anyway, we went to the first one. I can't recommend that place enough. I wish I could remember the name of the park. But
Lorch.
The
Lorchment.
And so as we're driving out of that park on our way to our next stop, we were heading to Ithaca after that to visit a couple other smaller waterfalls. Not really small, just gorgeous walking trails and everything. We look over, we're driving out, and over in this field, like 20 feet away from us, is a bald eagle.
Nice.
On the ground, eating like something that it caught. I don't know if it was like a rabbit or a squirrel or whatever. But I've never seen a bald eagle. Those things are huge.
Yeah.
That's a big bird.
It is a big bird. It's cool.
It is really cool. I mean, I knew that they were big, but once you see one in person, you're like, wow.
Yeah,
that's a large bird of prey. So we got pictures of that. We went and just hiked. The only thing we didn't realize when we went up there, Zach, was it was NASCAR weekend in Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that's the one weekend a year there's the race there.
Yeah,
and you picked it.
It was not intentional. Sarah and I are not race fans. I have nothing against racing or anything like that. I used to be a huge NASCAR fan when I was way younger. Not what I was expecting. So when we're booking all of our we only stayed one night up there, but when we were booking our hotel, I was like, why are the prices like double this weekend as any other weekend? Like it was insane. And I get up there, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's race weekend. Like we picked the one weekend that.
So Watkins Glen, which is just a sleepy little town in the mountains, is now overrun by people.
I cannot express any more love and adoration for a place as the small towns and places like Watkins Glen and Ithaca and places like that in New York. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Everything was beautiful. Like I've gone through, I basically live in a farm town, right?
Yes.
I've been through a million farm towns in my life. There's something special about upstate New York.
Nice.
That I would have never expected, but my goodness, did I enjoy every mile of that drive. Then Watkins Glen, that park, it's a gorge.
That's what I heard. It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. Yes, it is. And I mean, just how they set up the paths and everything. Oh, Zach, I could have stayed there for
days. Sounds like it. I can hear it in your voice. You have just an overflowing love and affection for.
I do.
Yeah.
I never in a million years would I have been like, I'll be that guy. I'll be the guy that's like, let's go hiking.
Yeah, no, that's not Steve.
Let's go climbing.
Yeah. I've been to New York with you before, but it's New York City.
Yeah, we've been to New York City.
Yeah,
totally different. I thought that was my environment for the longest time. I've discovered that big cities give me more anxiety now than ever before. So Sarah and I were supposed to. I mean, I'm all over the place with my stories. Sarah and I last week were just going on a date one day. It was a Wednesday, and we were going to go down to Pittsburgh, and we went to this place called Quaker Falls.
Okay.
Still
chasing waterfalls.
Listen, buddy, like our lives are how close can we get to these waterfalls? Because some of these are hard to get to, and Quaker Falls was probably the hardest one. I told you this and you're like, what? Because I said, because you guys went there, but you walked around the top. I said, you guys didn't go to the bottom. Like, how did you get to the bottom? I said, well, they have ropes.
This is not Steve.
They have ropes, and you just kind of rappel down the side.
I think I would have paid money to see you rappel down the side of a waterfall.
Yeah, it was really
appointment viewing.
It was really steep. It was super steep.
You're still here talking, so you made it.
I've never had more fun. And and then you have to figure out your footing and everything to get up to where the waterfall is at, because there's no path to it. It's like you just gotta walk on rocks and over logs and all kinds of stuff. I was having the time of my life, and every step, like Sarah and I would get to a place where we're like, okay, this is close enough. Let's get some pictures. We can head back. I'm like, nah, let's get a little bit closer. She's like, are you kidding me? I got behind the waterfall. I was so proud of myself. Yeah, there's a little bit of it's like carved out behind like the waterfall at the base of it. I got in behind that. There was literally just enough room height wise for me to stand in there. But it was so cool. So yeah, I traversed and then I climbed back up that hill, up the rocks. I was a little anxious at first. I'll fully admit, but once I was in it, I was in it.
Yeah.
I was like, I earned my Indiana Jones hat today. Like,
did you wear it? Have you been wearing your Indiana Jones hat on?
As I go on these things, I didn't want to.
And your whip, so you can take it and hook onto a root and swing across.
Yeah, I've watched videos on that. And guys talk about it, and they're like, if you want to die, definitely try.
So you've been researching if this is possible. Now that you're out there doing it.
No, this is research I've done a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, how effective are whips as ropes? The answer is not. They're not effective as ropes. But anyway, go back to New York. We walked through the Watkins Glen Gorge. Holy cow, man. Like, you've got to go there. Like, just experience it. And the thing that we were really blessed with was beautiful blue sky days.
Yeah.
It was perfect. There wasn't a drop of rain the whole time, except for at night, which was fine. We were exhausted by the end of the day anyway. But we did, hours and hours. I don't know how many miles we traversed the whole time. And I had Pete in a backpack.
Nice.
A baby backpack. Not like
your North Face
I put him in my North Face bag. I zipped his head up to his head. So his head's just sticking out. The rest of his
body would have loved it.
No. He did not love it.
He didn't?
He did not love it.
Oh, he was contained.
He was not too happy. The cool thing was, so long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. No, so when Tessa was a baby, friends of ours from the church allowed us to have this really nice baby backpack kind of thing. That was it looked like, when you see in movies when the elephants have those fancy things on top of them that a guy's riding on.
Like in Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings, okay? You know what I'm talking about? It has a roof over it.
Or Legolas goes up the trunk and slides up the trunk of the elephant.
Okay, you're kind of missing the point. I'm talking about the thing on their back.
Oh, yeah, that the people ride it.
We're not killing elephants. We're talking about the ride itself, okay? Yeah. Are we back?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So anyway, that's what the backpack thing looked like. It had a little bit of it had a roof over it and everything. So the baby's head was covered and
from the sun.
Yeah, and it held them almost in a saddle, and there was a thing that came out so you could.
So you're the elephant.
Very much so. Yes, thank you for saying that.
I'm just trying to get a picture here of what
Ava has been on me about my size a lot recently. It's been hurtful.
You're the one who said that you had an elephant.
I'm essentially an elephant. Yes.
You're
She's Dad, you're really big, and I'm like, I don't think you mean it that way, but it's still stinging a little bit. Anyway. So yeah, we got one of those after the trip so we went to a yard sale. That's when you guys watched the kids for us. Yeah. Thank you again for doing that on that Saturday. We went to yard sale. We refound that same baby carrier because the one that we took on this trip was awful.
Oh,
awful! It was a minimalist kind of baby backpack. That was not very helpful at all. It was Pete was just back there, and I had to keep pulling him up and readjusting, and he was nah! Every time I did it, I was pushing the air out of his lungs. I readjust. It's every time I would move the straps up over my shoulders again to kind of pull him up. This one we took on another trip because we went hiking again. It was seamless. It was so easy to get him around. So anyway, we got it for $5.
Nice. Yard sales
are amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So anyway, but yeah, Watkins Glen was beautiful. It was perfect. The only thing we didn't do while we were up there, Zach, was go to one of the lakes.
You didn't see a Finger Lake?
We didn't go to any of the Finger Lakes. We only did waterfalls.
Okay.
But I will tell you this, it was well worth it.
Well, you are not listening to TLC. You are taking their advice quite literally. You're not sticking to the lakes that you're used to.
Yeah.
You're going straight for the waterfalls.
No, they say, please stick to the rivers and the lakes like you used to.
Exactly. But you're not doing that.
Yeah, we're doing the opposite.
Exactly.
Take that, TLC.
Yeah.
They should have learned from me.
Yes.
Zach, there's another thing I got to talk about. Oh, my goodness, man.
Did you get stung by a bee?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Yeah.
You are the Kool-Aid man. You have the stuff running through your veins that attracts the flying insects to you.
Zach, I'm having a hard time reconciling this.
I have murder hornets at my house.
You got the murder hornets.
I did. They like.
Those things, are you sure those are murder hornets?
I don't know what they are. They look like murder hornets.
They look scary. They're big.
They're like yellow. And
yeah,
they're
like
not brown.
Their faces are like, they're huge.
They're huge. And they're not on a nest. They're underneath this tree and they're eating the roots of it.
Yeah.
They're like gnawing on the roots of it.
I think what they're trying to do is kill that tree so it'll hollow out and then they can build their kingdom in there.
It's the kingdom of the hornet.
Kingdom of the murder hornet.
So we're going to be like ground zero of the death in the area.
Yeah. Because they'll figure out that my house is the place to come to.
Evidently.
Zach.
What happens, Stevie?
I'm out there. It boggles my mind, man. I'm out there cutting the grass. And boom, I get hit again.
Where at?
On my calf.
It nailed you.
It nailed me, man. It sent me for a loop. I had a low-grade fever for 2 days.
What? What was it that bit you? Yellow jacket?
Yellow jacket stung me.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. That's the only thing that stings me, man. It's the only thing that stings me.
They're getting you back.
They're getting me back for taking their family. I'm telling you, man, I'm marked for death. They wrote me a letter.
Did they?
Yeah.
Did you write it down?
Yes.
Are you going to read it to me?
Yeah, I'm going to read it right now.
Right. You
on the
got your phone out. You're back? Oh, man. The pop socket on the back of your phone has changed. It no longer is a record. It now
matches my current mood.
It used to be a record, like a vinyl record that you could spin, and you'd be spinning that thing all the time. Right now, there is a mountain with a sunset going against the mountain there.
Yes, that's who I am now.
It is who you are now. That's amazing.
It's a reflection of who I am, Zachy.
I'm so proud of you. All right, let's read this letter.
To whom it may concern. I was like, you know who I am. They did that out of spite.
They did.
The kingdom is abuzz with anger. We are unhappy to be. They put all these stupid bee puns in there. And I'm like,
where did they leave this letter?
They're Yellow Jackets.
Was it folded really nice, like in an envelope on your door, or did they like inscribe this in your arm with their stinger?
They left it next. I woke up and it was next to my bed.
Oh, that's scary.
They flew it into my house.
That's scary.
Well, remember that one guy was on my couch.
I know,
that's where I got stung the last time. 2 months ago, in my house, on my couch.
This is scary.
They sent one of their assassins.
Keep reading.
We hope that this letter finds you well. Ha ha ha. So stupid. We believe. They're not even bees, man.
They're Yellow Jackets.
They're Yellow Jackets. Like, they're confusing their own species.
They don't have very good species identity.
They don't care.
No.
They're just jerks, man.
They're finding their identity
kind of mocking another species.
They get their identity in their revenge more than they get in how God made them.
Yes. We...
Spit all over this.
We will be seeking are Bevenge. Like, that's not even a word.
They didn't. They're just trying to put bee in everything.
They're putting bee in everything. They're not bees.
No.
They're yellow jackets. Yeah. I think that's part of like the hornet family or something. Take care. Buzz. That was his name. His name's Buzz.
Oh, okay. Like Buzz Lightyear.
Yep.
We have Buzz at our house. Who is a bumblebee.
He's a bumblebee.
He's very nice.
See,
I think I've told that story before.
Honeybees? I love honeybees.
Yeah.
I'm a supporter of the honeybee. Mm-hmm. All right? Like, even when it's honeybees coming around my kids, I'm like, guys, don't have to worry about a honeybee. They don't want to hurt you. They're nice little guys. They really are. Like, a honeybee's not going to bother you.
Honey tastes very good.
Honey's great. Yellow jackets provide nothing. Nothing.
No.
All they do is kill other things, and they sting me. That's the only things that they were built to do. So I want you to add, to do beyond, like I said earlier, following our podcast and sharing it. I want you to punch a yellow jacket
right in the face. In the face.
In the face. You see a yellow jacket, don't like swat at it.
It's like those spotted...
Ball up that fist and knock it out.
It's like those spotted lanternflies that are everywhere. Do you have any of those at your house? They're down towards Pittsburgh more.
No, I've not seen
the invasive species.
I've heard about this. I remember I was down. We took the kids down to was it Carnegie Science Center?
Yeah.
They had signs up. It said, if you see it,
kill it.
Kill it.
Yes, that's it. Oh, usually, when you see animals, like you're supposed to be nice to them, be kind to them. Not these spotted lanternflies. There are signs up everywhere.
See it,
kill them, squash them. That's what it says everywhere.
Yeah,
I feel bad for those.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There was never this kind of pandemonium over like the stink bug.
Yeah, it's like those the invasive species thing. I'm glad the Native Americans didn't do that when the English showed up.
So wasn't it like, so we had that like outbreak of years ago. It was like the little ladybug looking beetles, but they weren't really ladybugs.
They were orange.
Yeah, you remember those?
Oh, they're called something.
Yeah, I can't remember what they were called. But
Japanese,
wasn't that
something?
Japanese beetles are a different thing.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Japanese beetles are those shiny little
Asian
guys.
beetles, I think they're called.
Asian beetles. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
Yeah.
So, didn't they release the stink bugs because they eat those things?
I don't know. Is that an urban legend?
I don't know. But I heard that they released the spotted lanternflies to get rid of the stink bugs.
Really?
Yeah.
I think people just make that up.
You think people make that up, Zach?
Yeah. But they're back anyway.
Where's Eddie at?
We need an entomologist.
Where's Eddie at? He usually eats these things. Wait until they release all the Cousin Eddies.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're going to release squirrels. Wait until you see those signs. If you see it, squash it. Squirrel.
That's messed up.
That was a little jacked up, Zach. But, it's been a long time since we recorded a podcast. And I don't know how these go anymore.
Anyway, we'll be back here in a little bit.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, we're done.
Like done?
No. We'll be back with actual something of edification.
Oh, don't use that word.
It's a big
word.
Who
are you?
I don't know. I haven't done a podcast in a while either. Yeah.
You've changed.
Like, I don't even have a pop socket. It's just a tree on the back of mine.
Is that because you like trees?
I do.
I like trees. There's not one on the back of my pop socket. All right. When we come back, something worthwhile.
In a minute.
All right, we're back from our brief break where I'm a choking hazard in and of myself.
Yeah, you were choking.
I'll tell a quick story that I forgot to add to the front half of the podcast.
It's kind of frightening, actually. We might have to
I may or may not have
a hantavirus.
The hantavirus.
I think that's what it's called.
So last a couple weeks
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
We played a game in the youth ministry.
On Sunday morning called Mythical Meats.
I thought it was called Mystical Meats.
And Zach kept calling it Mystical Meats, but that is classic Zach. If something's named one thing, he's got to come up with his own name. Anyway,
not out of stupidity.
Just because he forgot and he's just doing this. He's like, I think I know what this is. Mystical Meats. But we had this game called Mythical Meats, and it's this company called Mythical Meats that makes these,
Slim Jims.
Slim Jims, essentially. Beef, like meat sticks, but they're like, they name them after all different kinds of mythical creatures, like a unicorn and what was the other one? Like a chimera, Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, but
chupacabra.
They also have some weird like animals. Like one was an ostrich meat.
Yeah, but so each one of those, even though they're called, a mythical meat, they're made from real beef, chicken, pork. Some have alligator, some have ostrich, some
antelope. One was antelope.
Yeah, all different kinds of animals. So it is an interesting, blend of meats and spices and stuff. They're very good. Like they're high quality.
Yeah, so we played a game where the students had to eat them and try to guess.
And then guess what mythical creature it was. It was just, it's a youth group game, clearly.
But you come to me and you say, hey, I was sitting in here and I saw the mythical meats.
You still can't get it right.
I can't get it right. Laying there.
They're sitting out.
He was like, I saw the Loch Ness monster. And I thought, I'm going to eat him.
Yeah, so I saw, I wanted a snack when I got in the office. I'm like, we still have some of those left. So I grabbed the Loch Ness monster. It was beef and... oh goodness, what was the other thing in it?
Alligator?
No, it was nothing water based, it was beef and buffalo. Or bison or something. Are bison and buffalo the same thing?
They're probably not, but we'll say they're
close enough.
Yeah.
If they're not the same thing, they may as well be, and no one can tell me different. Anyway, so it's sitting there. I grab it, I tear it open, I eat it. Done. All right. A little bit later, I look over. I'm like, oh, there's still a couple other ones left. I wasn't going to eat them. I just wanted to see what was left. I look at the one. It was like the chimera one. It has it said chorizo flavored meat, which
nasty.
Whatever. Sounds gross. And then the other one was, I forget what it was. The chupacabra. Chupacabra was the chorizo flavored one
because it's like
chimera
Mexican.
was the spicy beef one.
Okay.
I'm looking at it, and I notice that there's a hole in it at the top. And a little bit of bites have been taken out of it. Like something started eating it and was like, oh, this is too spicy. I'm going to give up. Then I noticed mouse poops. All around the bag. So I'm really hoping and praying
that the mice didn't like Loch Ness and they liked the other mythical meat.
That they didn't also take some bites out of the one that I ate. Because I'm a little concerned that I'm going to have...
You pounded that thing too. It was good.
Didn't even think about it.
No.
Didn't even think about it.
But
I'm thinking about it now.
There probably is like tooth marks.
Am I supposed to go get like a shot or something?
Maybe. I might have to carry you out of here before we're done.
I'm worried.
I would be. Let me see. There's a wrapper on the ground down here.
Is it a wrapper?
Basilisk. This is basilisk meat here. Mythical meats. Alligator with beef and pork stick. There you go.
Well, wunderbar.
Anyway.
Anyway.
You're all right. Hopefully.
This might be my last episode.
How's your belly feeling? It's a little gurgly?
I don't feel ill at all.
Is there like a rodent running around in there in circles?
I looked at it. I didn't see anything. I looked at both ends. Nothing stuck out. I would have noticed if there was a tear in it somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're all right. Keep telling yourself that. You have to talk yourself into the fact that you're all right.
Like I got these disinfectant wipes. I could just eat one of those and hope it balances out. No, don't do that.
It's like when you eat the real hot food, you go for the ice cream to make sure the balance in your belly is at the right level.
I got a good base and a good acid in there.
Yeah.
Now it's neutralized. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anyway, Zach.
Yeah.
So this past Sunday, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And we've finished our summer movie series.
We did.
And I was really excited about where you were taking it for the final week because one of the big movies of this year, while it might not have been commercially super successful, it was somewhat commercially successful. Even though it wasn't a huge commercial success, it still was a very important movie in Christian circles because we were talking about the movie Jesus Revolution.
Yes.
And back in the 1970s, this was a huge, it was a charismatic movement that happened in the 70s. Or it was just like revivals happening all over the country. But the big one was out in California, which is where this movie is taking base. And I think it wasn't like Greg Laurie.
Yes.
A big part. I don't know all the ins and outs.
Have you seen the movie?
I've not seen the movie.
Okay.
I just know that Greg Laurie was part of that movement years back. He's still a pastor to this day.
Yes. The movie is around his conversion and then how he began a little church out there.
So he was like a kid?
Yeah, he was
like a teenager?
Yeah, I think he was in high school in the movie.
Okay.
And talked about how he met this girl who became his wife, and she invited him to these kind of like parties back then, to these concerts where they were doing drugs and just trying to. The whole idea was there was a generation of
the hippie movement.
Yes, the hippie movement. There's a generation of people that were looking for something, looking for meaning in life, trying to understand what's truth. Yeah, kind of like that idea. And it was these people were searching and they found it in God, but they needed people in their church communities, pastors who had, rejected these hippies, these people before, because they were dirty, they were smelly, they were doing drugs. They would come into their church and kind of make a scene, like they were not welcome.
Yeah, because
this idea of
just this traditional approach of the church.
Sure, because that was the big thing in the movie, that you have the one side of the church congregation sitting in the pews. They're the older gentlemen that have the suit and ties on, and the women with the pretty dresses on the other side of the pew with all the hippies. And they've got like crazy hair, not wearing shoes, the big flowy clothes and stuff, and just that contradiction in seeming lifestyles there, and how
dichotomy.
Yeah. And so like these the straight-laced Christian folk did not want the hippies in their church because they were ruining their carpet.
I'm glad that doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
To this day. Exactly. I'm glad we just accept people. They can come in dressed however they want to now. Nobody says nothing.
It's exactly right. That doesn't happen anymore in church.
Never. No. Nobody ever complains about how people look and how it's unacceptable before the Lord. Nobody says that anymore.
Exactly.
It's good. I'm glad it stopped. I'm glad it stopped back in the 70s.
Right. So there's definitely truths you can take from what the movie was about. And that's kind of what we were talking about. But the cool thing was, I knew a hippie. I knew someone who was...
You knew a hippie?
I did. Someone who was saved during the Jesus Revolution. And and someone who, in our lives...
We know it.
Yes.
Do you think he really qualified as a hippie?
He's like a motorcycle cowboy, kind of.
Yeah.
That's what he is.
Yeah.
But Pastor Ron Noggle.
One of our favorite people in the entire world.
One of our heroes of the faith, really.
Yeah,
someone
honestly,
who has gone the way.
He's a father figure.
Yes. Pastor at our church, who's now retired, semi-retired. He's still here.
The man will never. A pastor never truly retires. Is the truth. Yeah. That's where he's at right now.
So he started the Celebrate Recovery ministry at our church and was really big into that aspect of being a pastor and leading a ministry, getting down the nitty gritty of people's hurts, their hang-ups, the stuff they struggle with, and trying to help them to see how God can work in their life and turn that around to then have your life be used for God's glory, get out of those addictions that you're in, this type of thing. And so you can see where that part of his, because he talked about who he was before he knew Christ, how he was a hoodlum, basically, like a rambunctious young man out there doing things that were...
Which I could never imagine Ron being.
Exactly, because we know Ron as Ron, and not as Ron as he was when he was 18 years old or whatever.
Yeah, we didn't know him as Ronnie.
Exactly.
That's all of his buddies call him.
Yeah. So he was telling stories about how he would, the stuff he was getting into and how he went during the Jesus movement to a place called The Barn, which was this...
I've seen, he has a picture of it in his office in a very dilapidated state. It was,
Yes, run down, falling apart, just a barn out in the middle of a field in Ohio somewhere. He went there. There was these charismatic church services, part of this Jesus Revolution, this movement. And he went there and was saved one day and turned his life completely around, and the rest is history. So it was cool to be able to relate a real life person to what they watched in a movie, So we talked about that. And
did he talk about like him getting reacquainted with somebody that spoke that night?
Yeah.
Talk about the dude's name was Crow.
Yeah, like
that is like, I'm like, this is the most like late 60s, early 70s thing you can possibly hear of.
Yeah.
So Ron posted something about it was his what was he called? It's like his spiritual birthday.
Yes.
He celebrates every year. He usually posts on Facebook like, hey, it's my
February 27th or something.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's his spiritual birthday. It's when he gave his heart to Jesus. And somebody replied to it, this like another older gentleman, and he's like, people used to call me Crow.
Yes.
And I'm like, that is the sickest thing. I've ever heard. People used to call me Crow. That's a cool nickname, man.
Yeah.
I want to be called Crow.
Yeah.
For a good reason.
Yeah.
Not just because. I said, hey, just call me Crow.
Yeah. You can't give yourself your own
It's my nickname.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, so this guy reached out to him. He was able to reconnect with one of the guys that spoke that night.
Yeah.
That he was saved.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
No, so it was cool. So I just interviewed Pastor Ron, and that was the service. We watched some video clips. We watched the clip of that Greg Laurie guy being baptized and coming up out of the water. And it was this, I don't know, this dramatic reenactment of what, change, your life going from before Christ to after Christ. He's down in the water. He's kind of like floating around, and you see him like release his hands, kind of like releasing his sins to God, kind of thing. Comes up out of the water, and he's just kind of like changed.
Yep.
It
comes up in its modern day Greg Laurie.
Yes, basically.
No, I'm just kidding.
And so it was neat just to have Pastor Ron then talk about his same type of conversion experience, where it was just one night, the Holy Spirit working on his heart, and just, he went up, knelt down at the altar, gave his life over to Christ, and it's been completely different ever since. And so that was basically what the service was. But it was 70s Day.
Did you guys all dress?
We did. I went to the Goodwill. And
Goodwill?
So
you said that was like a guy. I went to the Goodwill.
Well,
that's Goodwill.
Well, I said it that way because,
like, did you go to Will Lewis's house?
No. When my daughter was little,
okay,
she used to call it Big Wills.
Oh, Big Will.
So if we would go to the Goodwill for something, she'd be like, "Hey, we going to Big Wills?" So we called the Big Wills.
Big wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
No, Big Will, not wheel, not like the Journey song.
Big wheel in the sky keeps on turning.
Big Will. Like,
I heard you what you said.
Stevie? Yeah,
I was singing a song.
I know.
If you'll have to excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right, bro.
So we went to the Big Will.
Man, that's what I meant to say. I'm trying to be 70s now.
You are far out. So I went there.
Don't harsh on me, man. Is that it? Is that something?
I don't know.
Oh, don't harsh my mellow, bro.
You sound pretty good, but I wasn't there.
That doesn't sound good.
At Big Will's, I found this. It's like a corduroy jacket, brown with the big lapels. It was very small on me, so it looked cool. And I had
you
on,
walk,
kinda. So I shaved my beard down to mutton chops and a nice Fu Manchu.
Nice.
And I thought I looked ridiculous, but I have to tell you, people came up to me and said, "That doesn't look bad."
Yeah.
To the point where I thought, I'm going to keep this look.
You would have done well in the 70s, Zach.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You
would have done well, too.
Sarah said to me, she's like, "I'm so glad you're not there this week." She's like, "Because I know you wanted to shave down." She's like, "I'm so glad you get the pass on this week." I'm like, "Can I do it anyway?" She's like, "No."
It's all about guys shaving mustaches. It's back.
There's nothing better than just a freshly cut stash.
I know. Makes you feel like a man.
Yeah, go ahead.
You feel like your father. Like, that's the thing. Like, our dads had the mustaches for us, for our age folk.
Sure. Anyway.
So then I had to shave it off. So I've kind of got the baby beard going on here. Little baby face underneath the little stubbles. So
that's anyway. All right. You look good, buddy.
Anyway, that's not at all.
How the students respond to it?
Silence, basically.
Really?
I gave them a chance to
ask questions.
Nothing. No questions. So I don't know.
That's kind of a bummer, man.
Yeah, maybe it didn't hit what I was hoping it would hit.
Well, I don't think it's a matter of it not hitting. I sometimes I struggle with, like, why is there a disconnect point? Like, in a lack of, and maybe it's like we're not teenagers anymore. We're at that age where we appreciate, like, what we could take away from, and it's probably just the age.
The wisdom of like a sage.
I want sage wisdom in my life. Like, I want people to be speaking into me. I want to learn from other people, whether it's the mistakes that they made or the triumphs that they've had. Like, I want to hear that so that I can kind of help myself mold a better version of myself, right? So, and like, yeah, that's. I'm not saying I'm like disappointed or anything, but that I wish people would especially at a younger age, I wish when I was in my teens, would have, looked at my grandfather and asked real questions and learned so much more. I mean, not that he didn't impart wisdom to me as a kid, but my goodness, now as a almost 40-year-old man, like I'm like, oh gosh, how much would I love to just pick his brain about everything and learn so much. Like there would be so much to learn.
I think when you're a student, learning is different than when you're an adult and not a student anymore. When you're a student and you have to go to school and you're learning, like you're going to church, they're teaching you, you don't have the appreciation of gaining knowledge maybe because you have to do it. It's kind of like your job. When you're a kid, your job is to go to school, right? When you're an adult, your job is to go and make monies at the work, right? And so you're not getting taught.
Monies.
You're not getting taught. And so you gain appreciation when you can have those conversations with someone who is filling your mind and expanding your knowledge of, how God has worked in someone else's life, those type of things. I think there's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
And so I think you're right. And it's something for our students. Take time to learn outside of school from people who are godly elders.
Yeah.
Godly sages, right?
Yeah.
Someone who has been through the battles, because anything that you can learn and take from them are things that you can take that and avoid potholes in your life.
Exactly.
From wisdom of someone older. But I think when you're growing up, you're like, I can handle this. I can do this myself. Like I don't need that.
Oh, that's just how old people do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying doing it exactly the same way, but take wisdom and apply it to your situation.
I mean, there is I can't think of the word. There is a maturity as someone who is young in their faith to take a step back and realize that you're young in your faith. Mm-hmm. There's maturity in that because you realize that, hey, I haven't experienced what other people who have been in this for a while have experienced. And by going and learning from them, that shows, hey, I'm humble. I don't have all the stuff together. I don't have all the answers, but I'm seeking to live like God wants me to. And we do that by reading his word, by getting into that, by praying, by having that relationship with God. But you also gain that from having a relationship with people who have gone through it before and experienced it.
Yeah. I can't stress that enough. Like, take that time to appreciate what is around you and what you can learn from. I'll fully admit that, when dealing with situations, I tend to just rely on myself.
Yeah.
I think like most people,
sure.
Like we're going to rely on ourselves and like, I could solve my way out of this.
Yeah. And Christian maturity a lot of times is taking yourself out of the center of your life. That is.
Oh yeah. Stop making yourself. You're a crummy God.
Exactly.
Is what we should be telling ourselves every single day. God, our God in heaven is a good God. He's an amazing God. And I'm a crummy God. I'm not a good God. What was I just listening to? I can't remember. I've been listening to a lot of stuff. Oh no, it was a Matt Chandler message yesterday. It was a really great message. I can't recommend enough his latest series. Because he's really, oh my goodness, sometimes like he punches sometimes. When other guys pat on the back, he punches in the face because it's like the conviction sometimes that you need but he was just like, hey, look at me. You make a crummy God. Like just very direct. Because he's in Malachi. Just kind of like talking about, oh goodness, what's the big point of Malachi? Out my brain, completely out of my brain. Malachi is, of course, he's the last prophet.
Yes.
Like he's the last prophet. It's the last book of the Old Testament. And they've been in this series now for like over a month. But the whole point, the point is like of what is to come and what could be is to be gained from the Messiah. So he was like working out mostly out of Malachi, but also in Hebrews and Isaiah. But just talking about the fact that we constantly ignore the wisdom of God for our own wisdom or for our own understanding, because it's the pride that we will constantly fall to. Like, we want to be in control, so we continually turn back to ourselves and try to figure out, how can I solve this problem?
Yeah.
And he's like, we make ourselves into a God.
Yeah.
But we are not good at it.
Yeah.
We're a really crummy God, because there's no figuring out in a way that would be how God does things, which is mutually beneficial to all. We're going to figure things out so it's good for us.
Right.
And without levels of godly wisdom and people that have gone before us and learned that ahead of us, we're going to fall victim to the same thing. We're going to go through all the same things that they went through. Mm-hmm. When you could listen to them and be like, oh, if I start this now,
right,
I'll be good forever.
Right. So I've talked to older people, and they're like, man, I wish I knew now. I wish when I was your age, I know what I know now. And that's the idea. Like, I could do so much different things in my life if I had the wisdom and the maturity of my 70-year-old self when I was 25 or whatever, or when I was 18, because then I could make wise choices. I could, do things that are godly, and I understand the purpose of why I'm here. Right.
Exactly.
So those are the reasons why I'm going to seek out someone who is older than me, who has gone through the battles. I mean, a Christian person, someone who is a God follower, that person in
somebody
your
that
life.
I've seen the fruit of the Spirit working in them. Like, they've lived it out.
Right. And I'm going to pick their brain.
Yeah.
And allow them to impart some of their knowledge and wisdom on me, so I can live a life that I'm not making the same mistakes, like you had just said.
Yeah.
That's huge. Like, now I'm graduating high school. I've got this person who's speaking into my life.
Yeah.
As now we're not replacing our time with God with our time with someone else, but this is just another avenue.
In conjunction with.
Correct. And so I have this person speaking life into me and helping me to make decisions, right? Going to them for counsel and such things. I can then start at a place that I can grow from even further than that person who's 70 years old. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Because I have all of these potholes and stuff. Hey, let me talk to you and help you through these things. Take that advice. Realize in your Christian maturity that I don't have all the answers, that I'm, like you said, I'm not the God of my life, right? Mm-hmm. And then you can start at a point that can help you to do greater things for God's kingdom
for a longer time.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny because, Ron's even said this to me, and he's probably said the same thing to you. And I know, because I think it's advice or not even advice, encouragement that he's given to other people, where we got to have him on the podcast.
Is he allowed? You have to be of a certain age.
Yeah.
Is that the criteria?
Let's not say that, because the only other person we've had on the podcast is in the 90s. Ron's not there.
No.
Ron's 70. But yeah, he's good. Yeah, we can have him on. No, I think honestly, I think like he's got so many amazing stories of what God's done in his ministry life. I would love to have him on and interview him. But
he was on Big Ben's podcast.
Ron lives an enchanted life.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's buddies with. I don't know if we really should talk about that on the podcast, but it's funny because it's kind of stuff that Ron was like, hey, you want to see something?
Yeah.
And I'll like pull up a text thread and he's like, oh, like, is it Ben Roethlisberger you're texting? He's like, yeah. Yeah. Like, who are you, man?
Yeah.
He just laughed. Because Ron, there is nothing arrogant about Ron at all. Like, he's one of the most humble human beings on this planet. So Ron has said to me, and I'm sure he said this to other people just as an encouragement, he said, I wish I was where you're at. I wish I was at the place that you're in at your age. He's talking about like faith maturity wise.
Yeah.
But the big reason I'm in the place I'm in at this age is because of guys like him, like guys that have spoken into my life and helped me shape who I am. And the hope is that, you and I, Zach, can now take the wisdom that we have, that we've formed from the generation ahead of us, and give it to the generations younger than us, and then hope that they have even longer to enjoy it. So I could say that exact same thing to them. I'm 38, 30, you're 39, going to be 40 here in a couple months.
Thanks for reminding me.
Woo! Yeah. Old buddy.
Yeah.
That jersey multiplied by 5.
Thanks, buddy.
Is that right?
Yes. Did you know basic math? 8 times 5?
You jerk. I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if 8 times 5 was 40. Anyway, but like in hopes that like these, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, we give them now the amalgam of the wisdom that we've taken.
It's a big word.
Did I use it incorrectly?
I didn't say you did. That's a big word. I'm impressed by your vocabulary.
We're giving the combination of the wisdoms. Of the wisdom that we've assembled, and then give it to them, and then they start to use that to form who they are, and then they get to enjoy even longer. And that should be our hope continuously.
Yeah.
Is that we don't take for granted what is given.
Right.
God gives his wisdom. That should be number one. Then God also imparts to his faithful followers that wisdom and allows it to stir in their hearts, and the Holy Spirit uses it in all different kinds of ways, right. Millions of different ways in unique situations.
I mean, Christ, when he came, when he chose his disciples, they were teenagers, a lot of them. They were very young, teenagers, young 20s. He didn't choose old people, right, yep. to come and, he chose young people to impart his wisdom, show the way to live. This is how you live a kingdom life, right?
Yeah.
And then they went off and changed the world using what Jesus came and imparted upon him. It's the same. It's the same formula.
Same concept.
Yeah.
Same concept. So, take what you can get from these things. We did not plan for the podcast to go this way. We had a different.
That's all right.
That's all right. Yeah, it's totally fine. But our recommendation would be, hey, make sure you're doing that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to sit down with somebody that is of a generation or two ahead of you that is a strong believer.
Yeah.
And ask them the questions, the hard questions. Sometimes you'll connect. Sometimes you'll be like, I don't get what you're trying to say. But that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience. But appreciate that generation ahead of you because they have something to offer.
Yeah.
In a huge way, especially our brothers and sisters in Christ. So that's all I got, man.
That's it.
Podcast episode 4 of season 3, the slowest moving season.
We've only had 3. We've only had 2 prior, and they were pretty good.
No, there was 3 episodes. This is our 4th episode.
I know, seasons wise. You said the slowest moving season we've had.
Yeah, the first 2 we were just.
Yeah.
We had like 100 some episodes. No, it's not 100, but it was like 70 some episodes. Season 3, it's been 3 months, and we have 4 of us. So
it's all right.
We're going to get back into a routine, Zachy.
I hope so.
Oh, it's football season.
Yeah, that's true.
We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's true.
We know how much you guys want to hear us talk about. Kenny Pickett.
Dude, if they go undefeated and win the Super Bowl, this podcast is going to change as the season moves on here. But anyway.
They haven't talked about church-related stuff
at all.
Faith-related stuff in months. Steelers are 12-0.
Yeah.
They're on a run. They're on a tear. Hey, but we're just happy to be back in the studio recording for you. So please, if you can, share this with a friend. And if you think it might be helpful for, make sure you follow it. And we will see you next time. I'm Steve.
I'm Zach.
Bye-bye.
Later.
Later, skaters.